Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
It's Coffee Ann on ONAM and FM. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan. Nice to have you along with us on the last day of January in 2024.
Can't believe it already.
Oh, amazing. There's Tim Draper from Navigant Credit Union.
Joe, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I think we're our friends are MIA.
There's no Melissa and there's no John.
Wow.
Which is odd.
It is
for,
a little odd.
For Wednesday. I thought for sure they'd both be here.
They're all mad because I wasn't here last week while you guys were making fun of me.
Oh, that's right.
I watched.
We'll show that, Tim.
The wrecking crew is not here.
I know.
So I could come in here and really wreck things if you like.
Well, before you do that, we'll move things around a little. Maybe Melissa will show up and we'll move the San Antonio Communities segment.
Second.
To the second
That's
segment.
fine.
So we'll just move.
There
right
may be
along.
some terrible catastrophe out there we're not aware of.
We're not aware of it.
Right.
Should check in with my news department here.
Go do that, Dave. It could be a calamity somewhere. How about
Maybe.
that? All right. The first thing I want to get to, and it just popped up in one of my emails.
You're gonna have Timmy do his first message?
No, Tim does the 3.
I know that.
But do you? Okay. It's your show, Joe. You do whatever you want. You do you.
And now I'm confused.
All right. You said you were going to move things
I
around a
thought
little,
you were
so I
gonna-
expected
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Somebody came in. I don't know who.
I did hear a door.
It's Melissa.
It's Melissa.
We'll
Smith,
save it for her.
Okay,
She gets to do it.
I'm out of
She gets to do it. Get out.
Hi there.
Thanks, Dave. Let's hear about the latest.
She's so
latest-
she's trying to sneak in. We just announced that you just arrived.
The latest calamity and misfortune and
We'll talk. Don't worry about it. You
so
just calm
hard
down.
to get
no,
here.
you calm down. It's all good. It's all good.
Everything I
Was
did
it
this morning was
buses?
just not at a good pace.
It's all right.
Yeah.
No, I blame the treadmill this morning. I was watching a good show, and my whole morning just kept going from there. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get off. I
look at
gotta
the
get
time.
going. And it's just all day. I'm so sorry.
I blame the
That's
treadmill for
okay.
everything too. That's why I never get on it. It's always the treadmill's
There's a
fault.
solution, right? I know.
Right.
And then just driving here, I felt like I hit every bus, every
red light.
Of course. Yep.
like. Looking at, can I just have a quick public service announcement?
Go right ahead and listen.
February 1st is tomorrow.
Yes,
isn't
it
it?
is.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
It's time to take your Christmas decorations down. I'm driving back roads from St. Antoine to here.
Yeah,
Is he pointing
right.
outside? Like, do they
No,
have a
no,
wreath
no,
on the
no,
building
no.
here?
No, no,
Because
no,
I'll
there's a
feel bad.
there's a
It's time.
the tech
February
issue.
1st is
Yeah.
that threshold. And,
Yeah, time
and
to
I
come
have
down.
to say, usually, a couple weeks after Christmas, but we've had some snow. We've had some snow. People can't get out there. I get it. It's not safe to get on a ladder.
Yep.
February 1.
Right.
Get on the ladder.
Can I just say,
Yeah,
I
Dave.
wish you would write a nice long letter to the Hallmark Channel because I feel the same way about television programming.
I'm with
the
you.
movies are still airing.
I know.
And
It's
I would
time.
even, I think I did similarly back in like October when Late 105 started putting Christmas music on already. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Money.
Money,
But
I know.
but the lights on the house, by February they really should come down.
They should be.
Or shut 'em
Were
off.
you late because you were also stuck on your treadmill and then too
no.
busy looking at Christmas
John Ward,
decorations
everybody.
on your drive?
No,
You just
I was intentionally late, letting you do your first commercial before I interrupted it.
Well, no, we're gonna move Melissa
Under,
to the second
under the heading
segment.
of
So.
epic
I'm gonna
fail.
try not to take that as an insult.
Oh man.
All right, so we're moving into the second segment, so no need to worry about coming up with something.
I thought you guys were mad at me because I didn't show up last week. So
Well, they were, but all right. Now, what I'm going to bring up next that doesn't affect you, John. It does not affect.
this show has come
For listeners, that was not me. I
that
just
was
want to
mine.
say.
I heard the most dangerous thing in radio and television as I drove in here just now. It was Dave saying to Joe, "It's your show. Do whatever you want." I can't think of a more dangerous thing to say to a person who's got the airwaves.
That's a good point.
All right, but the next topic doesn't affect John. It doesn't affect you, Tim.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect you, Melissa, yet.
Oh boy.
It may come,
Must
but it's
be-
affecting me like crazy.
Must
and
be
it's
age related.
Must be a woman
little bit.
thing. What?
No.
Oh.
It's college related.
Oh.
So
I'll sit back while you
Hit me.
have that conversation.
let's hear it for the federal government. They decided we're going to change
Yeah.
the free application for the federal student aid. And instead of doing it October 1st, all right, do it December. We're going to make it ready in December. Well, December comes, and they said, well, wait. Well, okay, wait to December 31st. And that was a Sunday. All right, wait to January 1st. Well, that's a holiday. All right, now you can start filling out the FAFSA January 2nd. And then we get the word that you really shouldn't because it's a new website and it's probably not gonna work right. And that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
Oh no.
People rushed to it and it crashed. So I waited. I waited to about the third week in January and said, okay, things should be okay by now. And I filled it out, and it was and kudos to the federal government. It was very easy to fill out.
Oh, that's
I was
good, 'cause
very
it's
happy
never
with
been
it.
easy to fill
It
out.
was very easy. I was done in 15 minutes, and then your child gets to do their part because they put in what schools they want to go to, where they want the information to go to, and it took her 15 minutes, and we submitted it, and we said we got it, we're all set, good to go. And they said because on January 31st, the financial aid people are going to send it out to the colleges.
Yeah.
We can start doing that. Well, it came out last night.
Oh boy.
The Department of Education on Tuesday announced yet another delay in this year's much criticized rollout of the new FAFSA form, indicating the college will not begin receiving applicants' federal aid information until March at the earliest.
Wow.
Oh my
'Cause
goodness.
now, and you know, and people have already picked their colleges. Your
Yeah.
athletes have decided where
Yep.
they're going to go. And blah,
Early
blah. But then,
action and-
that's right. But then there's people like me. My daughter has been accepted to 7 schools, and we're waiting to see who gives us
Financial
the
aid
most
package.
money.
Right.
Before we can
Exactly right.
before you make a choice.
Right. My kid will
but
go to the
all-
highest bidder.
That's and all colleges say,
Yep.
okay, make a decision by May 1st.
Right, and give us
Send
$500.
Send in your deposit by
Yep.
May 1st,
Yep.
and you're locked in for that coming fall.
Yep.
Are the colleges delaying their May 1st?
They're going to
deadline?
have to
Well,
adapt.
because this just came out yesterday, so I think all the colleges will now have to start circling. What are we going to do? So we haven't heard from colleges yet.
Yeah.
That's too early. But I'm shocked that this has come out and that you have to wait.
Well, on the bright side.
And then what's the
Oh,
bright
it's not
side?
the
Tim?
There's no bright side.
There is no
What?
bright side because colleges will. We used to find out when the kids went their first round, and we were waiting to find out who was going to win the Draper lottery. We had to figure out. We waited until I think the last financial aid package we got might have been mid-April,
Right.
and then you look at the packages together and you go, okay, who's gonna
Who's got what?
right? So where do we want to go, and how much we're gonna have to pay? But I wonder if the colleges will have to, if they'll be forced
They're
sort
gonna
of to
ha-
push
I feel
back
like they're
May
gonna have
1st
to.
Push
make
it
it
back.
June 1st. But that messes up all of their schedule.
It sure does. It
And
really
they're
it's
trying
going
to
to
figure out
impact, right?
classes.
Because you got transfers, right? That was a big issue during the pandemic too, right?
Right.
Is the whole like kids changing their mind at the last minute because they didn't want to pay to go to a school and be stuck in a dorm room. So I'm going to go from home. I'm going to be commute. Blah blah blah. All of that impacted the next year. Transfer students that was already just catching up a little bit in
Yeah.
terms of their admission rates, and now you add this on top of it. I feel like
yeah.
it's going to keep having a ripple effect.
So the Undersecretary of the Department of Education, his name on the federal level, his name is James Kaval, Kvaal. He declined to specify an exact date or guarantee that colleges would receive the forms by March. All right. This has many worried that after months of shifting timelines, colleges may not receive students' records until closer to April or even May. Such a shift is certain to give applicants a much narrower window in which to weigh their college-going options. This is a great quote. This is from Angel Perez, president of the National Association for College Admissions Counseling. Quote, I'm stunned. Godsmacked, really. Gobsmacked, I should say.
Oh my gosh.
This is devastating. I'm
Only a
not
college person would use the word
gobsmacked.
gobsmacked.
This is devastating. I'm not sure.
That's your word of the day, Tim.
He says, I'm not sure what other word to use. For students, the FAFSA is supposed to help,
Yep.
and for institutions that have been waiting for this information.
I know the word to use. The
Can you use it
FCC
on the
doesn't
air?
allow it.
Yeah, I know, it's just-
I think everyone's going to get a free semester on the government. There's going to be.
Maybe that's their ultimate goal, but
Oh God, that's
Why not?
awful.
Why not pay up front instead of paying at the back end, right?
right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, my daughter's pretty sure where she's going to go,
Yeah.
but we want to know what will
Well, you
she
guys
get
have
as
to
a
plan.
financially.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, you have to plan on what it is exactly that you're dealing with.
So I did not hear this last night at all. I got an email from my daughter's guidance department.
Yep.
I sent out to all the parents that this has happened, and that if we have any questions, to direct them to the college financial aid office.
Not him, not them.
Not them. Yeah, this is not our fault. Well, what are they going to tell us?
We're waiting.
That's right. We've got nothing to tell you.
Right.
Because we don't have any information to base anything on.
I always thought the FAFSA was kind of a pain in the butt, waste of time, because the reality is when every year we did it, they basically said, okay, what is your income? All right, you guys are on the hook for 30%.
Yeah, now that's supposed to have changed.
Well, I hope so.
They were getting away from that.
They didn't take into account your mortgage. They didn't take into account your car loans. They don't take into account anything that has any impact on what your
'Cause it's all
income is
lifestyle
for the
choices.
year, because those are lifestyle choices. So they felt, the government always felt, at least this is what I heard, and it was proven out every time we did it, was that essentially you were supposed to pay 30% of your gross income. Not even your AGI, your gross income. This is what you make, so therefore you should pay 30%.
I forget what the acronym is that they use.
Well, they use the tax. You go and download your tax documents.
They do.
from the
Very
previous
similar.
year, and right.
And and you still do that. Is it okay
Yep.
if we go get it from the IRS? Yes, it is.
Reminds me of a great line from a great movie said by Howard Johnson when the new sheriff comes to Rockridge.
There's a new sheriff in town?
Son, you're on your own.
You are on your own. That's right. And
I
so-
think you're missing the real highlight of
Exactly
what
what
you
that is.
said
You're
in the
on your own.
beginning, which is your daughter got into 7 schools.
Which is
Congratulations.
great.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
congratulations.
And thank you. And,
Yeah.
and she's been told
You
by...
worked hard
You
at
focused
that.
right on the
Me.
debt.
It's
I
all
just
about-
want to say, let's go back to
every
the
good
That's
parent
what
should.
the parents do. I told my daughter that. I said, you don't worry about cost. You worry about getting into school. I worry about cost.
Right.
Yeah.
Until I have to worry you about cost.
Yeah.
But she got her acceptance letters, and each school said, this is what the school already is going to give you as a scholarship.
Yep.
So that puts schools
It helps
up
some
from the
merits.
top down.
Yep.
So she really kind of knows where she's going to go. But I want to see what the FAFSA will do for us, and what will she get.
What I always found fascinating about what you get
And,
for
and the hurry up and wait is killing me.
what the government considers financial aid is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Because their definition for financial aid for us in my particular position was, we're going to give you a subsidized loan and an unsubsidized loan. Mm-hmm. That's your financial aid. I'm
There
like,
you go.
how is that aiding me?
That's not an aid. Yeah.
First of
that's-
all, you're paying interest on one of them, which is the one you're giving me the least amount for.
Yeah.
And then the other one is you're just accruing the interest till the end of the loan, and then I'm going to have to pay it all back then later.
They are creating a bureaucracy that adds about 15% more staff at every college and raises the cost so the tuitions go up ridiculously high.
How about that?
And then they throw in your work study. That's part of your financial aid package too. So
Yeah.
they're forcing you
Right.
to get a job.
Right. Right.
I don't think that's a bad thing, though.
Oh no, she should work.
I just think it's that balance of the kids, college kids. I don't care how studious you are.
They call it
It's
aid.
too much free time,
I just think that's,
right? Like
it's-
to.
Yeah.
Don't call it aid. Just call it financial whatever, but don't call it financial
But
aid.
yeah.
It's
But
not
also-
aiding you. A grant is an aid.
And
Merit scholarships
that's
is an
part,
aid.
and that's part of the financial aid form if you qualify for it.
Right.
So, but now it's more waiting.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just more.
So we learned that there's two buckets of money at colleges. You'll probably know this. There's the admissions office, which has which is all the financial aid stuff, and then there is the academic side of it, where they have some flexibility on who they provide merit scholarships to. So there are a couple of buckets of money, scholarships and
Yeah.
things like my kids qualified for some presidential scholarship
Yep.
at the college, based
So
on
did
their
my-
grades.
So did my daughter.
I call
Right.
that Cole's
So that's
cash
great.
in my house.
Cole's cash.
I do. I call that Cole's cash in my house.
That's a
That's
good
a great
point.
way of looking at it.
Because it is. It's that whole markup, and then not that your kids didn't deserve it, but I've already cautioned my
yeah.
kid to say a lot of kids get presidential scholarships, and hopefully you'll get one.
Right.
But in a way, it's a little bit of Cole's cash, right? Like they've marked up the price to be able to.
Cole's cash.
I like that.
All right, so that's
Oh my God, I feel like that's a book.
As I have always said,
Cole's cash of college selection.
government in action is government in action.
In action.
all right. So, and I can't imagine, boy, if you're working at a college in the financial aid office, and this will be any college.
Yeah,
Imagine
sure.
what they'll do with tax returns this year.
The phone calls that are going to start coming in, and they're going to have to hear it from parents.
Oh no, they're just
who are
putting
yelling
it to
at
voicemail.
who are
Right.
yelling
Putting
at
it
the
to
wrong
voicemail.
people.
Yeah.
What do you mean you can't tell
Right.
me? And on and on. Oh,
Call your congressman.
there you
Have him
go.
call the IRS.
Have them call the
Have them call the Department of Education.
And, you're forgetting about just, I'm going to go to the emotional side of it, but like that uneasy, nervous Nelly teenager that's just sitting there, like, you're trying to assure her, like, okay, you got in, you did your thing, like, I gotta figure this piece out, but they're also wanting to say, I'm going here,
That's
I'm
right.
going buying the sweatshirt, they want to get the hat.
They want to send in their deposit to the school.
They do.
And they don't want to lose out. They don't
Just to
wanna
get it
they don't
off
wanna
their
get locked
mind. I
out.
feel like there's so many months of that
Yeah.
uncertainty, and I have two nieces going through this. One of them is like applied to 25 schools,
Mm-hmm.
couldn't care less about it, doesn't want to talk about it. She's like, I'll figure it out. I'm like, okay. The other one is really, hell bent on one particular school, and just it's about the money and just trying to figure out how much she might get. But it's for some it's nerve wracking.
One of my daughter's friends, she just told me that she decided to apply to the University of Scotland
Cool. Nicholas Albertian.
just to see if she could get in.
Yep.
And she was accepted.
Oh, Allie,
She's not
She
going to
should
go.
think-
the same
yeah,
thing.
she should
but
think about
there
it.
she goes.
I think it's fairly
I think
cheap
that's
over
a
there.
thing.
isn't it?
That's like I've heard international, schools
cheaper?
are much cheaper.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe
And
she
that's
will
where
then.
the whole exchange opportunity comes in to really take advantage of doing a semester abroad because it's
Right.
All right. Well, we got to take a break here on the Coffee and program. More coming your way. We ask you to please stick around.
Krakow Deli Bakery and
cow.
Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal real special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogi with onions and dirty sour cream, or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported goods. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 to 6, Wednesdays 9 to 5, and Saturdays 8 to 5. Follow us on Facebook to learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street in Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Hi, this is Gary Smith. Join me for Do You Remember, Tuesday through Friday mornings at 9:30 here on ON Radio.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
It's Coffee Ann on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Tim Draper and Melissa Smith and John Ward. And Melissa, time for first message from the St.
I'm so
Antoine
confused.
communities.
Is it 8:04? What am I missing?
Close enough. 8, 6,
We're
17.
very
but that's all right.
backwards this morning. I'm so sorry again. So anyways, for those of you that don't know a lot about us, we're a large long-term care campus, and we're located in North Smithfield, and we're on the line of Blackstone, Mass. and Woonsocket. And on our property, we offer an expansive continuum of services that range from assisted living to short and long-term skill care. We have a state-of-the-art rehab center, a private hospice suite, as well as a large secured memory care unit. And the two buildings on our property are the Villa at St. Antoine, which is our 76-apartment assisted living facility, and the Residence at St. Antoine, which is our 180-bed short and long-term skill care facility. So if you're presently at a crossroads with your loved one and trying to determine when is the right time to seek more help and support, I encourage you to reach out to me. I'd be happy to walk you through your options. You can reach me at 401-767-3500. Thank you.
All right, Melissa, thank you very much. Just take a look at some of the events that have taken place. We had a shooting in the city last night. Did you
Really?
hear about it, John?
No.
We had a shooting in Woonsocket last night. A 22-year-old woman shot. What night? Monday.
Monday
Sorry.
I
Okay,
thought
Monday
he said
night.
with a knife.
Shot
Monday
with a
night.
knife. That's interesting.
She was,
shot with a knife.
according to reports, two gunmen opened fire into a first-floor apartment on Boyden Street. Where's that near?
Which street?
Boyden?
Boyden? Yeah, that's the one that's near Harris School.
Okay,
It's off
great.
of Blackstone Street.
And then the two guys in the vehicle just they fled in the car. They haven't caught them yet. Incident is still under investigation. Her wounds are described as non-life threatening, which is good. That should be okay. But makes you wonder why they were shooting. It sounds like a targeted
Right.
shooting.
Who are they trying to get?
Yeah, and why, and like that. So that's the latest that happened in Woonsocket. That there was a shooting there on Monday night. Now, also on Monday night, and John, it's on the front page of today's Blackstone Valley Call
is?
Times. You had a presentation done by the planning department. They have what
Yes.
they call an aggressive economic development plan called Visit Woonsocket.
Yes.
Can you give us, in a nutshell, what they want to
in a
do,
nutshell,
how much
then-
it's going to cost, and all that?
The cost is going to be done with some grants. It's in the tens of thousands. Nothing extreme. It's about setting up a website that they've already got the domain name for Visit Woonsocket, and they're promoting the downtown area and the city in general, intending to find ways to improve the look and the feel and the accessibility of this around the city. And so it's connected to the work that'll be done at the bypass for putting the greenway in and doing some improvements to facades downtown again, and the work over near the Stadium Theater in that area of town. But it is all about getting people to come to Woonsocket for the museum, the restaurants, the theater, the arts programs that take place.
They should shorten up the
using-
domain name
using
first.
grant money.
First
But
thing they
they
should do is
grab the
call it,
domain name.
is you should go Visit Woon, WOON. Make it short and sweet. People love short and sweet.
Hashtag.
Woon,
Visit
all right.
Woon.
Hashtag.
Woon. Hashtag Woon. I'm just saying that we shortened the Blackstone River Theater
Yes,
to
but you gotta be careful because
BRTRI.org.
Visit Wound sounds like it's saying Visit Wound. And
Well,
that's
if you
an
put
injury.
Visit Woon, all right.
Visit Woonsocket works.
Okay.
Visit
It's all
Woonsocket.
your marketing
Nobody's
experience.
gonna
Well,
know
down
how
the
to-
drain
nobody's
right
gonna
there.
spell it, but that's
The
okay.
problem is that it might be taken because
No, they
wound.
got it.
not-
They got it.
No, no,
Visit-
no.
No, Woon's
Visit
not
Wound?
taken. I checked.
Oh, it's not okay. Because WON is a Chinese first name, very popular.
Really?
And it could be. I just thought it could be taken.
What about Win and Woon?
I think,
Win and
I think the
Woon
point
and
is
Win.
John hasn't told us that it's already
Winning
taken.
and Woon.
It is already procured. We should stop thinking about
Okay,
it.
we're
So
done.
they want to create 2 tourism districts, a riverfront district, and a theater
In the
district.
theater district.
What? Any ideas what they want to do along the riverfront?
Well, again, it has to do with the park that they're going to build around Truman Drive, which is going to turn into a 2-lane road, and it's going to have the bike path going through there. And
But it's
what I
not
learned to my dismay is they're not going along
along the river.
they're not going along the river and crossing the river with a bridge any longer.
Yeah.
Of course, no one shared that with us. Found out that the state told us about that back in 2021. I was rather frustrated that the administration, again, and one of those things that the former administration did, kept it secret, didn't share it with anyone. But apparently their plan is to have the bike path go across Hamlet Avenue and then at the Kendrick Avenue Bridge, cross over to Cumberland Street, their proposal would be to turn Cumberland Street into a 3-lane road with a turning lane in the middle and have a bike lane on the best way to describe it, the Fournier side, going
Okay.
down Cumberland Street, and then have a bike lane turning Clinton Street into a 1-lane road and having the other lane be a bike lane coming up to the point where you get to where the bike path was put on Truman Drive, and then it would continue from there, cross over, head along River Street, again in the road, and then come up to where the bridge is on River Street, crossing the river, and go along the embankment of the river over to Cold Spring Park, and then up into Blackstone. So that would be the complete route that they're proposing for the bike path. And so the park aspect to this is just that, the parks and the Truman Drive and along the river for other things. But the theater district's up in the top end, along Federal Street area, Main Street.
How was it? How was this received by the council members?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I think it's fabulous. I felt bad to find out that after 10 years of waiting for somebody to come in with the plan to finish the bike path through Woonsocket, despite the fact that they're already having to repair bridges down in Barrington for the bike path down there, they still haven't finished it, but they're redoing it in other places.
Maintaining a bridge that's not complete.
Is that what they're doing?
It's pretty much right. The bridge is not quite complete yet, I don't think.
But it's the second one.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, we haven't even gotten a bike path finished yet.
that's true.
So, I mean,
Do you want to brand it the Navigant Credit
No,
Union
I do
Bridge
not.
at?
I compare it.
Was
Well,
that
no,
what
no.
I'm
The reason they can't, the reason they say they can't put the bridge across the river near the library, is because of the utility easements with the overhead wires from the electric company. And I can understand that. There's 2 things that have more power than government. One is utilities, and the other is railroads. But I think the thing that bothers me about this is, as I said, we're the last spot to get this Worcester to the Bay
Right.
bike path section done, and it reminds me, and I made mention of it at the meeting. They sort of made fun of me after some of the council people did, because I said back when I was this high. Back when I was this high, literally, was when they were planning Route 295, and Route 295 was supposed to circle up and go right about where the industrial drive is.
Right.
And go up into Bellingham and then connect back to 95. And it was the late and great owner of the racetrack that said, "Oh, no, you're not. You bring that down closer to my house down in Lincoln." And so the whole highway was moved for one person and his money. Mm-hmm. And Woonsocket essentially got turned into an economic island on its own. And we were taken out of at the time, I think we were the only community over 50,000 population that was taken out of the interstate highway system connections.
Wasn't 99 the second shot at trying to do that?
No,
And then that
99 was, "Oh, I'm sorry, CVS, we don't want you to leave. Let's build you a driveway."
Oh, I thought that was supposed to come back up into the city too. No.
Oh, no. Well, that's not where 99 is,
Yeah.
where 295 was supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
And that 295 would have gone up through where the industrial park is now.
Yep,
which
right
at
out the back end.
At the time, I would go camping with some friends up on the hill there.
Yep.
And it would go right up through the industrial park, come out about where Bound Road is, go straight down Bound Road into Bellingham, which would connect up with Lake Street.
Okay.
And it would go from there. I don't know how they would get over to 295. Maybe they'd stop at Pulaski Boulevard and
Yeah.
go. In any case, that was the plan. And the reason Walnut Hill Plaza was built, it was purely on speculation that with the highway coming to Woonsocket and East Woonsocket,
right.
there's going to be an exit right there at Diamond Hill Road
Right.
at Route 114, and we're going to build retail right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Child World.
And,
That's right.
and so here we are.
Here we are.
So, question: how much does that bridge cost? Like to finish? How much will this cost to finish?
Oh,
The
to-
bike
well,
path?
they're going to
Yes.
have to finish it now.
Because it looks
it's
so
in the millions.
close. Like when you stand there at the line
It's
of
still the millions.
Get
because
out.
if they're talking
But
about
it's federal
not-
money, though,
if they're
right?
talking about not building the bridge, then it's even more money to literally rebuild Cumberland Street again and turn it into a 3-lane road, new sidewalks, new underlayment, separation between the bike lane and the car lane, restriping, and then doing the same thing up Clinton Street. That would be millions of dollars.
well, your whole like visit Woonsocket platform, like that is a great way to
Well,
bring
that's-
people
that
into
was-
Woonsocket.
That was
so
my
it
point. My
should be
point
the
was
initial.
when you ride your bike up from
Yeah.
Lincoln, Cumberland,
Yep.
Yeah.
Pawtucket, however you do that, coming into Woonsocket, you come out of this little green space driveway and you come up into the levee looking
Yep.
at the city.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm going to go there. Oh, but you can't.
Yeah,
Can't get there from here.
Can't get there from here.
yeah.
It's like, okay, so basically we've got two bike paths. We got one at Cold Spring Park and we got one at Davison Street. And you get on the bike path and the only way you can go is out of town.
Yeah. So I frequent the
That-
Blackstone path,
that
and I
don't
gotta,
work.
there's
Right.
not there. I have no issues
I love
as
that
someone who
path.
runs and walks it often, turning around when you hit the wall and reversing my direction. But I feel terrible for the bikers who are on the path, who are coming down from Massachusetts, and they literally have to like slam their brakes,
Well, that's
pivot
about,
around, and then pick up their speed again. And I'm like, God, for how many years?
That's about to end because they're working on the small space in North Smithfield right now. They're working on North Smithfield section.
So
that
there you
the
go,
people,
Melissa.
so that the people coming out of Blackstone can actually get to Cold Spring Park.
Yeah.
It's actually going to go all the way over to Cold Spring Park, and then it's going to stop.
And then-
So if
So-
they
It's a little further.
if
When
they
the-
put a kayak on their back, they can get into the river at Cold Spring
When
Park.
the National Heritage Corridor was put together, right?
Yes.
And the concept of the bike path from Worcester to Pawtucket, or to the Bay, was
Just on your list of things to ask Bob Billington next time
right,
you're talking.
right. Didn't every single section of that path as it got built wasn't that
No.
done with federal money? It was not.
I think it was probably a combination of federal and
So the
possibly
city
some
would have to
state
come
money.
up with the
No,
cash.
probably the state money too.
And state. Okay, I would think that there would be.
we need some. I
As a
guess
national park,
Yes.
one would think that they would want
Yes,
to
that's
do
right.
some investment.
Exactly. You know, we don't have the mountains of New Hampshire and Maine to attract people to come up hiking, but we can offer biking, and we can connect borders
can.
through biking and running.
And
Let's do this.
I
Let's market this.
actually I love taking the dog down the Greenway.
Yeah.
That's
See,
it's
it's
a
nice,
beautiful
right?
that's a beautiful piece
I
of
think that they should
pathway.
consider-
It's nice,
they
and,
I agree, and it
it's nice
feels
and
like
straight.
CVS
It's
having
quiet. It's
having their hub in Woonsocket. I mean, they always are announcing that they're hemorrhaging money, which I can't figure out why because I'm gonna leave that for a separate conversation.
It's the theft in California at the stores that's probably driving the
ridiculous.
profit down.
But wellness is their platform. Like how they wouldn't be supporting and investing in this alongside you as their headquarters
maybe
location.
no one's asked.
Okay, well, CVS, if you're listening, do something
Sure,
for your
Karen is.
community for once. Because honestly, I've applied for grants with them, and I hate to
Silence,
say it,
crickets.
silence.
You know,
You get nothing.
nothing.
Well, they have
And it's
healthcare.
aggravating.
That's their
It's-
focus.
And that doesn't make any sense
And
to me.
Hasbro is children.
Nothing is local. They give.
You know,
Out.
the nice thing about collaborative government, actually, they had a local initiative that may end up falling through the cracks is something over giving money. They don't give money to government, by the way. The charitable foundation. They give it only to nonprofits.
They don't give it to all nonprofits. Sorry.
Well, they give
No,
it,
they don't, but
they
they-
give it only to nonprofits,
Right.
not all nonprofits. But
I'm just saying, it's even needy ones
It's only
in
nonprofit.
times of crisis and
but,
pandemic, right in their backyard.
But yes, it would. So anything that would be done in that regard would have to be a nonprofit that would be doing the work associated with that, not the municipality or the state government, because that's not what they do. But it's something that, that would be done. It would improve the visibility and enhance their image to have as a marketing tool things to attract employees to the company is to have this bike path that runs from Worcester to Bristol, and people can get on it and they can recreate there. And there's a lot of people who have visas that come from overseas
Yep.
that live in apartments around the area there.
Come on.
It's a great way to.
that would be able to use it for recreation.
We used to have the town manager of Blackstone on, and he was always like to tout that Blackstone was the middle between Worcester and
Right.
Bristol. They were going to put up like a sign. This is the halfway mark.
Welcome to the middle.
Yeah.
That's right. You're right.
squarely
You're
on the
right
fence.
in the middle here in Blackstone.
No, and I have to admit it. And it's interesting they call it the bike path in Woonsocket in Rhode Island. They call it the Greenway,
Greenway.
of Massachusetts. And it is. Blackstone has, to me, one of the most beautiful segments of this whole
It
thing.
really does.
Because in the summertime, you're always in the shade.
Yep.
There's lots of trees, lots of nature around it. You cross the river at least 2 or 3 times as you go out through Blackstone. And it's just a beautiful walk.
Yeah, we
Or
walk
ride.
it often. The only time it's scary is when the bridges have a little water. They're
Water, they're
icy.
slippery.
They're free.
They're
Yeah, the wood slats on those portions are pretty scary.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program. So, Melissa, time for a second message from the St.
Oh, I thought I
Antoine
wasn't going to
Community
get one because I was
Of
delinquent
course you
in
are.
my.
Punished.
Yeah, go stand in the corner. No,
I
you
love
get
you
you get a
guys.
second message.
Thank you. I'll keep it brief. I've talked for the last few weeks on the air about a project we've been working on at St. Antoine Community, and we don't have an official date still. We're still aiming for April 1st. I am trying to be realistic and think that it might be May 1st, but we're excited that we're going to be finally opening an expansion on our property to include a 24-unit memory care assisted living. And I should add as well an affordable memory care assisted living, meaning that we're going to be allowing and opening up for Medicaid waiver applications, which is such a need in the northern part of our state. It's really part of our platform to make sure that everyone can receive the health care that they need without restrictions from their finances. And so this is just another example of us doing that and meeting the needs of the northern part of Rhode Island and offering that service and support to those that are most in need. So if you have someone in your life that would benefit from that support and that option and level of care, reach out to me. I can talk to you a little bit about our progress and tentative timeline, but I have started a waiting list and it's already getting pretty generous. So that's great for us, but not if you are in desperate need of that level of support. So reach out to me as soon as possible at 401-767-3500. I'll even be happy to take you on a tour. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. And the Coffee and program will continue. It's time for a look at the weather forecast being brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation.
More clouds than sun today with a high of 36 degrees and calm wind. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, overnight low of 27. Thursday, cloudy and 42. Friday, a 30% chance of a shower, mainly in the afternoon, mostly cloudy and 42. Saturday, sunny and 37. Sunday, sunny and 37. Monday, sunny and 35. Tuesday, mostly sunny and 35 degrees.
Currently outside the Navigate Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with cloudy skies, we have 32 degrees. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at crohnscolitisfoundation.org.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This Valentine's Day, treat your special someone to an unforgettable dining experience at Kay's Restaurant. Enjoy a romantic ambiance, exquisite cuisine, and exceptional service that will make your hearts dance. Make this Valentine's Day truly special by dining at Kay's Restaurant. Call now to reserve your table, 401-762-9675. 762-9675. Kay's Restaurant on Cass Avenue, Woonsocket, because love deserves the perfect setting.
Hello, this is Manny Brando. I hope you will listen to us each Sunday morning at 8:30. I will sing your favorite songs, and my wife Virginia will organize everything.
That's right, Manny. It's the Manny and Virginia Show every Sunday morning at 8:30 on ON, AM, and FM radio.
It's Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with John Ward, Melissa Smith, and Tim Draper. And Tim, time for first message from Navigant Credit Union.
Well, Joe, we have some exciting news. You know, I do a lot of PSAs here about safeguarding your information and fraud and people trying to do bad things with your accounts. We have decided that we are going to put on a little seminar for folks here in Woonsocket, and it's going to happen on March 14th. So if you get your calendar and you're interested in learning about some senior exploitation things that are going on and how to prevent those, just jot that down in your calendar. I'll have more information on how to sign up in subsequent weeks. But the program is really going to be, we'd like to show a couple of videos about what a scam might look like and how it could impact you. Then we're going to have a panel of people from the Attorney General's office, from the Treasurer's office, our Chief Security Officer. We're going to invite Chief Oates and anybody from his department that wants to participate in the panel. We might even be able to get ourselves somebody from Department of Homeland Security. Just at AARP, we're just trying to bring in some people who have expertise in the area that can really talk to people about what to look for, how to identify it, how to protect yourself against it. And there's, it should be fun. It'll be an interactive session. It's not just going to be sit there and be lectured to. It'll be a panel discussion hosted by one of our partners at Navigant. And we think it will be certainly worth your time. We'll do it at the Elks Lodge on Social Street. So it's in a central location for everybody. We'll provide some light refreshments. And again, that date's going to be March 14th. So
Have you got a time yet?
10 to 12, I think, is what we're looking at,
Okay.
or 10 to 11:30 anyway. And so those are kind of the broad details right now. And as I get closer to having a sign up process, we'll have you sign up because it is going to be somewhat limited, 100 people, 150 people. So if you're interested in coming, and by the way, it's not just for seniors. And I always talk about seniors all the time. It's for anybody.
Anybody. Yeah.
Because the reality is these scams are coming up all over the place, and you would be amazed at how sophisticated they are to trap people, even young people. And a lot of it is based around cryptocurrency. So we'll talk a little bit about that, I think, during the session as well. So
I definitely have some suggestions for you on your panel.
Yeah,
for
okay.
some folks, but also would love it if you guys could live stream that, because that would be, I think, for a lot of facilities,
Okay.
be able to stream that information
Yeah.
and have like a little activity where folks can come and watch it in long-term care buildings or
Yep.
senior centers and get that, that little extra. But I will also say caregivers of parents or even
right, they can come. They're welcome
it's
to come.
important for them to learn about how to protect someone who has any cognitive impairment and,
Right.
and make sure that they're not being taken advantage
Yep,
of. So I
it's-
think reaching out to that audience
It's
is
going to be
important.
free of charge for
Which is
people to
great.
come. And in your case, we've talked a little bit about, Melissa, maybe
Yeah.
doing something up there at Antoine, and I'm happy to put something together for you
Yep.
there too. So if it the stream doesn't work out, then we definitely will do something like
something.
that too.
That'd be
We'll do it.
great.
We'll do it 3 more times in different parts of
Areas.
the state,
Yeah.
right? Over the course of the year. This is my inaugural seminar, and we'll see how it goes. This will be the one that we get to make.
This is the test bunny.
To test it out.
All right, very good. Should be great, Tim. All right, we have a note that was called in 766-1240. Completely different note. Baseball will be starting up, Major League Baseball, like next month, spring training. So this is how it works. Alex Verdugo, a productive player, and now Justin Turner, another productive player, both gone from the Red Sox, and Chris Sale, he's gone too. Is this how you turn a team, as you say, overnight, letting go your hitters? Can you tell me their lineup? Devers will bat third. After that, I'm a little lost. I can't. Only impact player is Devers, and a team headed in the wrong direction, possibly. As I'm a Red Sox fan, this once dynasty, I don't know about dynasty, is trash. So, from all I heard, and the way Verdugo had something going on, he was kind of, I don't want to say it, kind of the cancer in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And he clashed with Cora, and they love Cora. Verdugo goes.
Yeah.
From what I heard, Justin Turner signed for less money with Toronto. Sox offered him more, and he said no.
That's because he's probably looking at the team going, this team's crap.
Well, that's a problem. Either the team or he's got a problem with the owners.
Well, I got a problem.
And everyone's got a problem with the owners, and I think Turner does too, and that's why I'm going. Sale, I'm just glad he's out of here. And we did get to some picks, not picks. We got some prospects. What will they turn into? I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to find out. So we'll just have to wait and see. Are we going to be good this year? Probably not.
Nope. Bottom of the barrel again? Probably.
Maybe. Maybe we'll be in third place instead of last. But this is going to be a tough year. Yeah. And from what I heard from people that pay attention, they had the Red Sox had their weekend out there in Springfield. John Henry, and Tom Werner were out there saying, like, we basically say we don't want to win. We just want people to come to Fenway for the Fenway experience. The Fenway experience is the Red Sox winning.
Right.
I don't know what they don't get about that.
What has to happen
tell
is...
it to the owners of the Worcester team who are direct beneficiaries of the Red Sox in Boston winning.
Right. Yes.
In terms of attendance.
Right.
Yes. So, and now the call is gone from everybody for these guys to sell.
Right.
Sell and find an owner that actually wants to win, and not whatever you guys are doing.
As soon as those guys have to start buying more tickets to fill the stadium because nobody else is, that hits the bottom line. That's when you go, the investment isn't worth it anymore.
It used
So
to
it's
be hard to get tickets to those
impossible,
games,
and you would pay the $150
you
a
can
ticket.
Now it's easy.
The problem is you have to, the economics of it. At some point, your team has a maximum value, right? If there's no attendance coming to your games, that value decreases. So if they want to maximize their investment, they should probably think about selling now, unless they figure they've created such a hole here that they got to win a little more
get better
in order
before
to
we can sell.
increase the value of the team. But
have they not learned watching Kraft building the Patriots experience beyond,
Jesus,
right?
right.
And
Well,
then
yeah.
having a real crippling couple years, and then realizing,
Right.
we need a new plan. I mean, I think they should be watching that closely. It's
Yeah.
not a good plan.
And
when you have billions of dollars, this is just kind of
No.
And there are people that will come in from outside of the state, and I mean not Rhode Island and Vermont, but from Midwest and West. Yeah, they're coming to see Fenway Park because they've never seen Fenway Park, and they really could care less who wins the game. I want to see Fenway, and it is pretty spectacular the first time you go to Fenway Park, but you can't rely on that.
No.
You need your season ticket holders.
That's a
And
small percentage of the
yes, you need the people coming back game
Right.
after game after game
Right.
to see them win, not to see
the other
them
thing
lose.
is when you start losing your television viewership, and that's going to
Yeah,
100%.
and
Yep.
that
That'll
hurts too. It will happen. If
Well, that's happened when they take you off the Monday night game and they move you to.
Sunday afternoon.
Oh, well, that's the
at 1.
Patriots.
Yeah, exactly.
all right, well, so spring training starts in about 3 weeks. So when pitchers and catchers report, so
It'll be the most boring spring training ever.
Well, you don't know that. You never know if Craig Breslow pulls out.
Right
some
now,
songs.
it will appear to me that it will
Dull.
be the most boring
All
spring
right.
training ever.
Anybody running up to Boston to watch the trailers leave with the equipment and stuff?
Oh, you don't have to run to Boston. It's going to make its stop in Worcester.
Great.
on, its
Pick
way
up
to,
pick up the other stuff.
on its way to Florida. Pick up some baseballs and a couple of bats. All right. Other things going on. In Massachusetts, they have decided that they need to put more of those electrical chargers for electric vehicles on the Mass Pike. And this is what I don't understand. We're going to put them in the rest stops in Natick, Framingham, Charlton, and Lee, Massachusetts. Now, Natick and Framingham are right next door to each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And Charlton's about 10 miles down the road.
Right.
And then Lee,
Lee
is
is
100
miles
miles
down the road,
I
right.
was just
on the
thinking
other side
that.
of the pike. I go,
Right.
isn't there anything in the middle?
I thought there was a Springfield one. There's no Springfield.
I don't know if there's one around Springfield.
I don't know. I don't ride the Mass Pike out to Lee, Massachusetts
The
all
only
the time.
thing I hate is the one in Charlton, because when you're coming up 84 and getting onto the Pike, as when sometimes I'm taking around the other way and
Yeah.
get 84 to the Pike and then down 146, you have to go by Charlton to get there,
Yeah.
and it's like a parking lot. No matter
Well,
what.
yeah.
The Pike is a,
Well,
a
it's
mess.
where-
Definitely
see-
one between Charlton and Lee. I go out to the Berkshires
must
a
be-
lot.
there must
There
be
has
one.
to
There
be.
has
I
to
think
be
there is
one.
one in the middle.
Okay.
But I know when you come off, like, I always think of my fear is CVS is going to build one of these major warehouses up in this area, because you got 84 coming into the Pike, then you got 290 going off that way, you've got 395 going that
Yep.
way, and then you've got 146 going that way, and you go Boston straight ahead. And I'm thinking, wow, if they ever get to driverless trailers and have everything automated and computerized, that is where you're going to see all the giant warehouses go, is right there.
Right.
You're right at every highway that can take you in every possible
Direction.
Every
direction.
possible direction.
But,
Right.
but when you're just a guy coming home, you get off of
Right.
84 and you
Right.
stop on the ramp.
Right. And you're
It's
waiting.
like, what is this? And it doesn't clear up until you get to Charleston.
So, Melissa, the plan is to, according to the Mass DOT, the plan is to eventually have more EV chargers available on the Turnpike and other highways around the state as well. But these are the 4 they're starting with. The 3 right near each other, and then
Yeah.
we got to do something with Western
I mean,
Mass.
I'm sure
here.
Well,
there's
that's because
plenty
you're going to
of-
be sitting in traffic in those three that
Yeah.
are so close to each other. That's where all the traffic is.
It's true.
Because it's after 84
Yeah.
where the Mass Pike becomes 2 lanes.
2 lanes.
And you go from 3 lanes or 4 lanes in some cases down to 2. And
Yeah.
you still have all that volume of traffic now trying to get
Yeah.
to 2 lanes.
It's
That's
true.
why
After
it's
you
such.
after you get through
they should make
Charlton,
the rest of
there's
the Pike 3 lanes. I don't know why they
rarely
don't do
builds
that.
up all the way to Lee.
It's a funny
So,
thing.
but
I thought the same thing about 295 when you go south of Johnston.
Right.
And that doesn't seem to happen no matter
They
how
they
much
did
I,
widen it up to
no matter
the,
how much I
the
wish
dump.
for it.
The transfer station, they widened it out to that point, and then
It
they
is
went down
so
to 2 through
bad.
the canyons.
it's
So.
so bad.
Well, they'd have to
there.
blow the canyons up. That would be a
But
problem.
it would cause more havoc because it doesn't take you 5 minutes to charge up your car, your electric car. It takes a time.
Yeah, it's like 30 minutes.
Well,
the
that's
fastest.
why they can build all the electric cars they want. If they force me to do something, I will never go beyond a hybrid.
Will that even be available? Will that even be available?
Oh, they're available.
But then,
Well,
you know, they
by
want
then,
yeah.
then we'll already have hydrogen cars.
Oh, good.
Is Honda's putting out one now, aren't they? Is it Honda that
No,
has the
they're-
engine, the
they're
hydrogen
working it.
engine?
They're working
on
it, yeah.
And Tesla just went and had the best-selling car.
Yeah, until
Like
they
the
don't
first
start in
time.
the cold.
And they don't
what
start
did we
in the
say?
cold.
The doors can't open, right? Like there's no
It doesn't
handle.
work. The battery has a problem in the very cold, extreme
Very cold
temperatures.
temperatures.
Some
Batteries
people's
have
And-
doors
and-
got iced over and they couldn't get
Yeah.
the handle to open the door.
And you
fuel
could
that burns
and you
when
couldn't
you
charge them
apply a
up.
spark usually does not struggle in the cold.
True.
All
so
right.
true.
Another break coming your way right now. So, Tim, time for a second message from Navigant Credit Union.
Well, now we'll talk about the other end of the age spectrum, and that is you're a young person, maybe between ages of 13 and 22. We have an account called the Embark account that we use to teach young folks about money. They can save money with this account. They have all the access that their parents do to online banking, mobile banking. You get a debit card, which you can personalize and make your own custom card. So there's some great features about the Embark account that really help to shape your child's financial education. Now, that said, we will not do things like allow for overdraft. So if your child gets to a store and wants to buy a Game Boy console or whatever and gets there and
Game Boys, is that
console,
still
that's not
available?
really
I'm
what it
just
is.
wondering.
I know. I show them my age. They want to buy a
PS5.
PS5. How's that?
There you go, much better.
And they get to the counter and they give them their debit card and there's no money in their account. No,
They don't
I'm
buy
sorry, you don't buy it. And that'll be a very interesting lesson for kids to learn when they're standing at the counter with no money in a very expensive electronic item.
I'm going to walk away sheepishly now.
Yeah, right. So the Embark account's a great account for young folks and who are learning about their finances. So we ask you to stop by one of the branches and get one of those accounts. just like every other account, it's a $10 opening balance, and the account is yours. They will have to have their parent on it, so it's not something they can have on their own. So, by all means, stop by and see Christian up at the Park Square branch.
All right. Thanks, Tim. More of the Coffee and program coming your way. Stick around.
I'm here on the floor of the Family Discount Furniture Store, known as Coletta's Furniture, and Brad Coletta is standing right next to me, and we're looking at dinette sets of every possible description and size. Brad.
Hey, Dave. So at this new location, we have a lot more space. So we have a lot more selection still at the everyday lowest price. Just a lot more to see and color options. You know, you could start with something drop leaf table, 2 chairs. We have smaller pub tables with 4 stools. And then you could go up to a table with 6 chairs and a bench. So we have ones with extended leaves. There's a lot more option here to see on display.
And different colors, too. All at the Family Discount Furniture Store, now known as Coletta's Furniture, 598 Wood Avenue in Woonsocket.
It's party time. Time for the Northern Rhode Island Council of the Arts 29th Annual Mardi Gras. Running for 2024 Mardi Gras Queen are Lauren Fagnet, Jean Michon, and Denise Salasis. Get your tickets today for the Queen Coronation on Sunday, February 4th at the Italian Working Men's Club and the Mardi Gras Ball on Saturday, February 10th at the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center. Don't wait. Tickets will sell out. Call 401-486-9380 or visit nrica.org.
All right, it is Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Tim Draper, Melissa Smith, and John Ward. And John, I'm sure you're, as everyone's aware, your former boss, Joe Almond,
Yes.
is now the go-to. He's the little liaison,
he's
if
the
you will.
something. He's the guy.
He's the guy of the Washington Bridge situation down there in East Providence. What will he be overseeing?
Well, I've heard a lot of criticism of the fact that he was appointed because he's a retired cop and because he's just a retired administrator. He has no engineering experience. And all of that may be true, but I think, having known Joe for many years now and worked with him, I think what this job is more about managing the communication between the Justice Department and the state and making sure all the documentation that they want, they've provided, that it's
You
found.
mean the DOT, not the Justice Department?
I mean the DOT. No, the Justice Department and
the ones
the
investigating.
state DOT
Oh, I
is
see,
investigating.
okay.
His job is to coordinate the communication between the two because they're going to want a ton of documents
Sure.
going back a long way. His job is to make sure people at DOT go get it, do
In
what
a
they have to
timely
do
manner.
to provide it in a timely manner, and that way the DOT people who deal with roads, bridges, and other challenges that they're facing are doing their job and not trying to do all of this administrative headache in the office. They're out there making sure the bridges get done. Make sure that 146 gets finished.
There's an idea.
Looks kind of cool.
You know and that's exactly what Joe does. He's you know, I worked with him for 15 years. He's a great manager of things, and that's, you don't need to be an engineer to make sure the communication is flowing
Right.
between the two agencies. And so I compliment the governor for asking or tasking Joe with this. Not asking him, tasking him.
You will do this.
Voluntold.
It's like volunteering in the army. let me task you if you'll. Yeah. So Joe to me is a perfect choice to do that. He'll manage it well. And when people say, "Oh, he's just a retired cop," I keep thinking, do you remember at the beginning of the governor's term, he had this disaster at the Eleanor Slater Hospital and all of the state hospitals for mental health? And who did he assign to sort of work to clear that up?
Rick Charest.
Joe Almond.
Oh, it was Joe Almond. I thought it
Who
was
then
Rick
came
Charest.
around? Who then came around to getting Charest to be working there? But it was
did not
Joe
know
Almond
Joe.
that was doing that work for him. I remember talking with him when he first took the job. I said, "Are you out of your mind? You took a job where you're going to have to deal with that kind of nightmare."
Oh, gosh.
And he just dealt with it. He
Did
just
it.
managed it until they came to where somebody was able to walk in there and
Take over.
grab hold of the problem and deal with it. And he went to doing what he does in the State House, and now he's got this job to do, and I'm sure he'll do it very well.
All right, great. So up in Massachusetts, you may have heard, 4 current and former Massachusetts state troopers are facing bribery charges.
Oh, is this about the
The
CDL thing?
The getting the CDL licenses, and I guess truck drivers were going to these guys and saying, "Here's a little money on the side," and I passed my test, didn't I? Yes, you did. So you think they would have learned from the situation at the DMV in Brockton, Massachusetts, where that person, 2 people up there, were selling licenses.
Good Lord.
to people that didn't pass the test.
Easy
through
money,
these
baby.
people's heads.
Easy money. That's
It's-
what comes
it
through.
is
It's
real easy money.
All I got to
And-
do is say yes. Okay,
Yes, and
check.
it lasts for quite a while, and the money just flowing in tax free.
Yep.
And yeah, so but these four and two private individuals were all part of this indictment.
I wonder if the
So,
cops will lose their pensions over that.
if they're
They
found
should.
if they're found guilty,
They
I
should.
yeah.
They should, but will they?
Make no assumptions.
I have a stupid question about cops. So, medical professionals have to have licenses that they get recertified annually or by, maybe every few years have to go for a recertification process. Do cops, do they have some kind of license that they possess when they've been,
Only for a gun.
okay, but
They have
not
to be
for,
they have to be recertified for their weapon.
there's no credentialing
there's-
process that has to be done?
It's internally defined, I think, through promotional exams and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
I
mean, they have ongoing training.
They go through training. There are training officers. We have a training officer in Woonsocket who handles training. It's not just training for promotion. It's training for programs. It's training for how to be a good community policeman, how to interact with people.
Every new
There's
tactic on how to
But even
approach a
de-escalation
situation.
now. We have
Right.
a
Mental health.
social worker.
I was going to say the mental health piece, like behavioral
Right,
health too,
well,
like doing some kind of,
There is a mental health specialist working out of the police station in Woonsocket now.
Yeah.
So that they know under certain circumstances they're trained on how to identify a mental health issue versus a violence issue
And
versus
Tom Oates is very happy with that
a criminal
person.
issue. Yes, and so they know how to contact that person to intercede and try to de-escalate.
so it's funny, so
situations.
you're saying the mental health piece is for how they're managing people with mental health. I'm wondering about behavioral evaluation of
It's
the officer.
I think the officer training, it's not a certification, but I don't know that it's a certification. It may be, but the fact is they train the officers to be able to distinguish between a mental health issue and just a raw violence issue or.
Are you talking about the officers
The
themselves,
officers
their
like,
mental
so
health?
putting it into context, like we have a very good friend of ours who's a cop up in the Boston area, and I won't say exactly where, but hanging out with him at Christmas time, listening to him tell some stories, and he was going on and on and on. And I realized, at our age, mid 40s, late 40s, you've seen a lot. You've been exposed to a lot. And he's up in an inner city, very low income inner city area up there, and traumatizing in a lot of ways. But you just wonder, is anybody,
Taking care of the cops.
yeah, going through a once a year behavioral health evaluation of that individual
You
to
mean
make
on
sure they're
them?
competent.
On them.
Yes, on them.
Oh, on them. I don't know if they have that kind
Yeah.
of program in place.
Because I'm just thinking, so I'm going to let you know how my brain
I-
works,
I-
but you were talking about these state troopers who
Yep.
are collecting some cash under the table. They're young and stupid and immature. I'm assuming they can't be experienced state
They don't
troopers.
say how long they've been on
Okay,
the
in my
force.
head, I'm thinking they're young, stupid
All right.
state troopers. But an experienced cop or an experienced officer, down
I
the
forgot,
pike.
what's the initials for those programs for
EAP?
EAP. I mean, every organization now, the city,
Right.
the police
Right, we
department,
have
the
it.
fire department, they all have EAP. And I think a superior officer, if they identify a problem with someone or if there's a shooting, I think you probably have to go through counseling. And any issues that an officer believes someone may need the services, then it's their job to refer them to the EAP. And there's certain levels at which I've encountered in my long and storied career where you can actually require someone to use an EAP service and get some counseling. And if they refuse to, you can terminate them
Yeah.
because they're just not right.
Yeah.
They're not functioning well.
Yeah.
And you advise them to, and you recommend it to them. It's all covered in the health insurance program, and
Yeah.
the
Protects you
the
as an
employer
employer.
pays
Yeah.
for the coverage and the service, and it's pretty much a universal thing now where these things are available.
Yeah.
So yes, that's all available, but I don't know that there's any. There may be situations where it's mandatory if there's a situation where a police officer actually shoots someone, or because that alone has to be traumatic to actually cause someone bodily injury or death.
Well, I have a friend whose son is a Rhode Island state trooper, and when he became a state trooper, that was the mantra then. They told about the old days where if you saw something traumatic, it was suck it up and be a man and get back out there.
Right. Not
anymore.
It's 180 degrees.
Go deal with it.
You have to deal with it. You have to talk to a mental health professional to get the help that you
Well, and
are
that's,
going to need.
you know,
from
if
whatever you've seen.
If you watch enough cop shows, you see that every time there's a shooting, somebody's put on desk duty. Somebody's put in the
Yeah,
office.
Take a break.
They're not there. Take
Yeah.
a break. Go get your counseling. Go take care of settling things and putting things back in perspective. so that you can go out and do the job right again. And I've listened to Steve Casey when he was talking about the some of the bills that he's put through and some of the things that firefighters encounter when you walk into a building.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
walk into a building and someone's
knows what's
died in
gonna
a
see.
fire,
Right.
what you're looking at can
Horrifying.
traumatize you.
Car
Yeah.
accidents.
You just want to make sure
car
that those
accidents.
people, like every once in a while, are kind of put in front of someone that evaluates. Okay, check, you're good. Perform for another year or so. Like we'll see you in a year. Like you just want to have that check and balance. Someone who's possessing a gun, who's a cop, who has that responsibility, but doing stupid things like that.
You know, it's
just
the
wanna
problem is
have-
it's an added cost, and that's probably not one of those things that they're going to go,
Well,
we
you know,
should add
that's
that.
that's the problem with anything that involves government employment. If it's beneficial, it sometimes is something that saves you money in over a long term because it's a more effective way to retain help, to have less issues that require insurances that you pay for coverages, whether it's for health insurance or liability insurance. There's a whole series of things that can cause it to be financially beneficial over the long term, but it's a little costly at this moment.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? Your tax bill comes at this moment.
Right.
Right.
And that's,
But
unfortunately,
it's-
that's the part that makes governance and elections an emotional thing.
Yeah.
And not often enough an analytical thing.
Right. That's true. Very true.
But infractions are hit on medical professionals' licenses all the time, and it's no added cost, right? Like if you're found in violation of something and you have a hit on your license, it's posted in a state portal system. So as an employer, and I'm going to hire someone, that's where I'm checking first. I'm checking their license status. I just didn't know if there was this similar process for, other.
I don't think officers or firefighters are licensed by the state in
what
any
I'm just
way.
wondering if
The
that
only
might
way,
have-
again, is having to do with their weapon
Right.
for a police officer. But I don't know that they do that with state licensing.
All right. Well, that'll do it for the show for today. We thank you very much for listening in. As always, Tim Draper, thanks for coming in.
Joe, thanks for having me.
Looking forward to that event coming up in March.
Yeah.
So that'll be great. And Melissa, thanks for coming in as well.
Thank you for having me. See you next week.
Good luck with the buses and red lights and getting back to work.
I might put a few Post-its on people's doors about getting their Christmas wreaths down. Tomorrow, February 1, people. February 1. It's time.
Local woman arrested for trespassing on various houses. John, thanks for coming in.
Walk my dog around one block in Vernon. There's still 2 Christmas trees up.
So you have a responsibility as a neighbor to just...
No.
Yes!
No
Yes, it's
responsibility.
time, John. It's time.
Thanks for coming in, John.
Thank you very much. See you all next week for sure, and go out and enjoy the God-given day.
Very good. This is Joe Callahan. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do your remembers at 9:30 here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. The Rhode Island Transportation Department has proposed changes to a heavily used section of Route 4 down in North Kingstown. Statistics say that highway, which is used to access several Rhode Island beaches, has 10 times more traffic by volume than the roads that branch off it. The agency is considering replacing traffic signals with so-called jug handles at 3 key intersections to ease congestion. The estimated cost of the project is $9 million. Area residents have expressed opposition, and officials say that it would make it harder for emergency vehicles to pass through if the DOT goes along with this. They're listening to all stakeholders. A nonprofit organization from Georgia is seeking to purchase 2 Rhode Island hospitals. State officials say Centurion Foundation has applied to acquire Roger Williams Medical Center in Providence and Our Lady of Fatima Hospital in North Providence. The Atlanta-based Centurion filed a revised application in November after the state ruled a previous attempt was incomplete. The State Department of Health and Office of the Attorney General will hold 2 public hearings on the proposal and are accepting written comments as well through the end of February. A final decision is due on June 11th.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. The CEOs of the top 5 social media companies will be grilled by the U.S. Senate today about child sexual abuse material on their platform. CEOs Mark Zuckerberg of Meta and Linda Yaccarino of X, formerly Twitter, are expected to appear before the Senate Judiciary Committee. The heads of TikTok, Snap, and Discord have also been subpoenaed. House Republicans continue to blast Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas as they move closer to impeaching him. New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik criticized Mayorkas and President Biden's handling of the border.
Mayorkas and Joe Biden have failed the American people, and Secretary Mayorkas is responsible for the devastation and destruction and the implementation of the failed Biden border policies.
Mayorkas would become the first cabinet secretary to be impeached in almost 150 years. This comes as House Speaker Mike Johnson has criticized a bipartisan deal on the border being negotiated in the Senate. Johnson said while